Throughout the years, I've run in various conditions around Florida. From running a 5K with a 60-pound vest on, to running a marathon at Disney World. And staying hydrated in Florida is a unique challenge. The heat and humidity in Florida can be brutal. It's like having a cup of water thrown in your face every couple seconds. But don't worry, I got you covered. Here are some tips that I wish I would have known when I started running in Florida years ago. My first half marathon I ran in Florida, I was getting water and Powerade at every other stop, sometimes both at one stop. And I was always so thirsty. And then my fingers actually started to swell a little bit. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. After the race, I did a lot of research trying to figure out why. Even though I was hydrating the whole time, I was so thirsty. I knew I was sweating more than I was drinking, but it just seemed abnormal. This is when I learned that it's very important to hydrate before the race. Depending on the race, I'll hydrate differently. If it's a short 5K, I may start hydrating a couple hours early. If I'm doing a marathon or half marathon, I'll start hydrating days in advance just to prepare for the race, because I know I'm going to lose a lot of water and your body can only absorb it so quickly. In another half marathon I was running, about mile 10, my quads started to lock up. I could barely walk, and I still had 3 miles to go. It felt like the muscles were just done. It was 80 degrees outside that day when I was running, and as I was talking to one of the medical staffs, they talked about the importance of having electrolyte balance. This is important anywhere you run, but in Florida it becomes especially important. If you're hydrating with only water, your electrolytes are gonna go out of balance, and you're gonna start having different symptoms. Cramping is one of those. There's also fatigue, headaches, irregular heartbeats, nausea and vomiting, and numbness or tingling in your toes and fingers. If any of these things happen, be sure and get medical help because it can be life-threatening. If it's extremely hot outside, which most of the time it is in Florida, I tend to only drink electrolyte water for the day or so before the race. And then during the race, I'll alternate between electrolytes and water. I tend to sweat a lot, so I have to really make sure that electrolyte balance is higher. For you, play around with it. Drink some electrolytes. You do need the water still, but try to drink more electrolytes just because of the amount you're gonna sweat. Even if you don't normally sweat, in Florida, you will. At most races, I'll wear a Camelback or carry a bottle with me. Even in your training runs, carry a bottle with you. You may think, oh, I don't normally need a bottle of water whenever I'm running 3 miles. You will. Just take it with you. Make sure you're staying hydrated during the run. There's a lot of great bottles out there that won't mess up your pace. I'm gonna put some of my favorites in the description below. It's very important to carry hydration, even if it's only a couple mile run. It gets hot fast. My goal when I normally get to the corrals of the race is to not feel thirsty. If you're feeling thirsty, you're probably already dehydrated. That means it will be a catch-up game going forward. So try very hard to hydrate ahead of time. You're not gonna be perfect with it, nor am I. But try very hard, because if you are dying of thirst while sitting in a corral or even in the first mile of a race, you're already dehydrated at that point, and now you're just trying to play catch up. After almost every race down here, as you walk through the end of the corrals, there's normally someone handing a cooling towel, unless it's cold, which is rare, but they will hand you a cooling towel, Powerade or Gatorade, and water. And this is very, very important. The moment you're done running, you need to work on rehydrating. You're gonna wanna drink the water very fast. My recommendation is to drink it slowly, because again, your body can only rehydrate so fast. But continue to sip on the water, continue to get rehydrated. Depending on the distance you run and how hot it is, it may take multiple days for you to rehydrate again. And the same as before, make sure you're drinking electrolytes, not just water. You don't want to dilute your electrolytes too much. Remember, everyone's different, so you're gonna have to figure out what your electrolyte versus water balance is, but make sure you're doing that during your training runs. Make sure to like this video, share it with your fellow runners, subscribe if you're new. Check out this video right here for some tips that I wish I would have known before I ran at Disney the first time.